This meeting of the Caldwell County Board of Education is called to order here on the 14th day of March, and we're certainly glad that you're here on this beautiful day that we have. Spring's almost here. Within the week, we'll be into spring, and hope that the weather will cooperate as far as the spring. But we usually have some cold nights even well into March and even into April. But it's nice to have the daylight savings time too. I enjoy it, and I'm sure that a good many of us do as well. But it's good to have you with us this evening. First on the agenda is the invocation for the board, and I'd like to call on fellow board member Mrs. Ann Edwards to lead us in that.
Thank you, Chairman Pennell. As a reflection tonight, I've chosen to focus on kindness. This is one of the character traits that our school system identified to be emphasized in our schools. Ms. Brown, I believe tonight that you also will be honoring and talking and sharing examples of this character trait from our students. Emily Dickinson wrote in a poem that she titled, "If I Can Stop One Heart from Breaking," the following: "If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life from aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain." For the last week, I spent 2 days, along with many of my colleagues, joyfully. We had the opportunity to engage with interviews of the years. Many of you in this room have participated, and I hope that you have seen what I saw, that as we discussed, professionalism became a common theme. I heard expressed the genuine concern that educators and teachers have for the total well-being of their students. While they framed it differently, I heard how deeply our teachers value and genuinely love their students. I am confident that kindness is alive and well in our school community. So how will you offer kindness and grace? Using Emily Dickinson's poem, can you ease one life from aching or cool one pain? Will you reach out with a kind gesture to a classmate, to a friend, to a family member? Do you react if you see one person treating another unkindly? Will you purposely engage someone who seems lonely or afraid? Have you purposely provided a smile of encouragement or forgiveness? How do you seek out respectful communication? I ask that you please join me now in just a moment of reflection and consider this attribute of kindness. I believe that Mr. Styron is here. I think I saw him earlier along with students from West Caldwell. And I would be remiss if I failed to ask that you remember our West Caldwell community, as this school family has suffered a recent and very painful loss. Because hearts are broken, please consider remembering a precious family and offer compassion, grace, and comfort as you see fit. Please join me in this reflection. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Edwards. Next on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to call on Dr. Katrina McKellen, Assistant Superintendent. If you'll have it stand for us, please. Flag is at the back.
Salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
Thank you, Dr. McKellen. Next is approval of the agenda, and the board's had opportunity over several days here to review the agenda. Do I hear a motion that we approve the agenda as presented?
Chairman Pennell, I move that we approve the agenda as has been presented.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion passes. Next is the approval of the minutes. We have 4 sets of minutes for February. On February the 8th, the board met in one of its work sessions. And on February the 11th, we had an emergency meeting on the 11th. On February the 14th, we had a meeting with the faculties at both Valmead and West Lenoir. And then that evening, we had our regular session, our regular board meeting, and that also was on the 14th. Do I hear a motion that we approve the February 2022 meeting minutes, and that would be items 3B through 3E?
I move that we approve the 4 sets of minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Next, let's call on Mr. Chris Becker to do some announcements.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman Pennell. So for the month of March, March 22nd, we have some school visits. We'll be visiting Hudson Elementary, Hudson Middle, Granite Falls Elementary, and Granite Falls Middle. Also, April the 7th is a board work session, and April the 11th is our next regularly scheduled board meeting.
Thank you. Dr. Phipps.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a couple of dates I want to share with the public as well. March the 26th, Saturday night, across the street at the J.E. Broyhill Civic Center on the 26th, 7 p.m. will be Kaleidoscope. This is a arts showcase of our students' visual and performing arts, so we invite everyone. Tickets can be purchased here, $5 recommended donation. That money goes to the arts support in our school system. Again, Kaleidoscope, March 26th, 7 p.m. at the Broyhill Civic Center. And then also on the 25th and 26th, the 25th is a Friday, we're going to have our Ag Expo at the Caldwell Fairgrounds. All of our 7th grade students will come out. We invite families and students of any age to come on Saturday, an all-day free event to be able to see showcased exhibits and different demonstrations and information about ag-related careers. So we invite our students to take part in that. And then also want to let our public know that we're working on our calendar. We always have to wait and see what the General Assembly's word is for us. The bad news is I can go ahead and tell you the start date. The start date's going to be August the 29th, which is much later than we would like, but the law says we can't start school any sooner than the Monday closest to August the 26th. So what we're trying to work out now is how we get our instructional hours in and the required days that teachers and 10-month employees have to have. So we hope to have that draft completed by the end of this month, ready for the board to review in April. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Phipps. Next, we have honors and recognitions, and we know that many of you have come here tonight for this, and we truly enjoy celebrating the success of our students and our staff and teachers. So I'm going to call on Mrs. Libby Brown, who is the Director of Community Relations, to lead us through this segment of our agenda.
Chairman Pennell, thank you, and Vice Chairman Branch, board members, and Dr. Phipps. It is always a great pleasure to recognize our beautiful artwork that we have on display at the Education Center and just to have the art teachers here with us, the hard work they do in their classroom, they're teaching these children, and the results are spectacular. So if you want to look at the screen here as I call out the child's name, you'll see their artwork. It's also on display down the hallway. So please take a moment to look at the artwork as you leave the building. We will start with Hudson Middle School, and Katie Elliott is principal, and Kelly Woody is the art teacher. So if they'd like to join us and help us with the students as they come up, let's please give them a round of applause, because it starts with the leadership in the school. And all of our students are here tonight, so thank you for being here. Addison Greer, 7th grader. And you can see that artwork. Ms. Woody, was there something special you did with this these art pieces that we are displaying tonight?
It's called op art. Op art is art that tricks the eye, optical illusion, and she did a color wheel.
So this is optical illusion. So this is very interesting. Miriam Lale. Miriam is also in Hudson Middle School, and she's a 6th grader. So Miriam. Let's get Miriam. Zach Teague. Zach is an 8th grader at Hudson Middle School. So Zach Teague. And he's coming behind me. So congratulations to Zach. Connor Mann. Connor Mann, 7th grader at Hudson Middle School. So congratulations, Connor. And we have Jasmine Flores. Jasmine, also a 7th grader at Hudson Middle School. So congratulations. Beautiful art pieces, and we will let you take a photograph. So James, if you'd like to take a photograph of the group, put your medallions on. And parents, please feel free to take pictures. Yes. Come on up there. We want you to get your pictures too. We have plenty of time. Get started later. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We now have Hudson Elementary School, and Jenny McNulty is the the principal. Sometimes you feel like. No, not the art teacher. That is Emily Aldico. So Emily, if you'd like to join us, and also Mrs. McNulty, if you'll please come up, and are you going to be back there taking pictures? Okay. So we're going to start with our elementary students in Hudson. Olivia Perkins. So Olivia is 4th grade. Atticus Land. Atticus is in kindergarten. Look at that. Very good. Italy Lopez. Italia. Isabella Tumberland. Isabella is in 2nd grade. And I know we have all of our Triton Terry. Is it Triton or Trenton? Triton. Okay, got that one. Triton Terry. Come on down, Triton. And his dad is with him. And Triton's in kindergarten. So congratulations. You see how we love to have the Education Center Art Gallery here for us. It just brightens up our building, helps us to appreciate our students, and it just is a constant reminder of the joy our students bring to all of us. Get some pictures.
Good job.
And as Ms. Edwards was speaking earlier about kindness and it being our character education trait in February, we have selected students at the elementary level, middle school level, high school level who represent that character trait of kindness, the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate. And my mother always told me, even if you disagree with someone, even if you have a difference in opinion, you can still be kind. So it's a great quality to possess. And we would like to recognize each of our representatives who are here representing kindness. So from the elementary level, Ava Jourdain from Davenport A+ School is here, 4th grade. And Ava, Tracy Harris is here with us this evening, the assistant principal, if you'd like to join us. Oh, she's taking pictures too. We want to capture the moment. Very proud of her. Would you like to say any words about Ava?
Her teacher's here too with us. Ava is always showing kindness to students in our school. She has such a sweet personality and just such a sweet spirit. And with everything going on in the world today, to embody something like that is so important, and to take that and to share it with all of those in her class and all of those around her is something that we hope she carries with her into adulthood and shares that with all of those in her class.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. At the middle school level, we have Gracie Fox, and Gracie is from Granite Falls Middle School. She's a 7th grader, and Chris Ackerman, her principal, is here. I think Gracie was out sick today, so unfortunately, she's not able to be here, but we will send her her medallion and her certificate. And would you like just to say a few words about Gracie, because they can always watch later? This is recorded.
Teachers love having her in class. She's a great student, and is usually very helpful to students when they fail at something.
Yes, thank you. And at the high school level, we have Mason Anthony. And Mason is from West Caldwell High School. Mason is a junior, and Craig Styron, the proud principal of Mason, is here with him by his side. And Craig, would you like to say a few words about Mason?
Sure, thank you. And first of all, I want to say thank you to Ann Edwards and all the thoughts and prayers that have gone out to the West Caldwell family. So as a parent of 3 kids and 700 kids, I encourage you to love your loved ones right now, give a hug, and just appreciate what you all do. So Mason Anthony, so we had 3 teachers that had nominated Mason, and I had Mason pick which blurb he wanted me to read. So this is on Mason. So Mason Anthony represents West Caldwell for kindness because he's polite, respectful, and helpful to everyone that he meets. but his kindness demonstrates itself best in his dealings with other students. Mason doesn't speak a harsh word even when he would be justified. He is dedicated to making the space around him better for all, even a student who is difficult or rowdy. His calm demeanor, attention to work, and steady nature are a kindness in the classroom. He answers questions of students who haven't started working yet, sets an example with his dedicated work, and is always willing to lend a helping hand. He could be nominated for scholarship. He could be nominated for maturity. He could be nominated for athleticism. But he was nominated for his kindness because he's always willing to help both teachers and students, and his calm presence is a blessing. So thank you, Mason, for being such a great student athlete.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We have one more. And we're so proud of all three of these students. And to have that character trait of kindness and to be an example to their peers, it's just invaluable. So we're so proud of them. Next, we'd like to recognize someone who I've had the pleasure of working with for about 20-some years in Caldwell County, and it's Reverend Dale Fisher. If he will come forward, please. It is an honor and a privilege to recognize Reverend Dale Fisher for his unwavering, dedicated service to the Clergy Crisis Support Team. The idea for the team came out of a meeting of the Crisis Management Team of Caldwell County Schools in March 15th, 2000. So almost exactly to the day 22 years ago. The mission of the Clergy Crisis Team is to assist victims and emergency personnel with their psychological, emotional, and spiritual needs during a crisis in Caldwell County, and in particular for us, the Caldwell County school system. Within a span of more than 2 decades, Reverend Fisher has been at the helm of these invaluable resources for the Caldwell County schools. When it wasn't convenient, when it wasn't timely, when it was in the middle of the night, when it was late, of course it was always unexpected, he would get a call from me requesting assistance, requesting 1, 2, or 3 members who had been trained in critical incident stress management to report to a school due to an emergency. Without fail, the Clergy Crisis members responded, and they are now an integral part of the school district's response to emergency situations. So as Mr. Styron talked about this, the situation at West Caldwell, we had Clergy Crisis members there today. And thanks to Dale Fisher. Dale has served at the Caldwell Baptist Association faithfully for 36 years, and he will be greatly missed. I hear a rumor he is retiring, and it's going to be hard to let him go from the Clergy Crisis Response Team, from Caldwell Baptist Association. He has been more than just a friend to the Caldwell County school system. He has been a family member. He has been dedicated. He has served 110%. He will be missed beyond belief. So we thank you. All of us thank you for your service, for your ideas, for helping to create this resource that we hope will go on indefinitely for the Caldwell County school system. So please join me in honoring and in recognizing a dear friend to public education in this county, and how many lives he has touched are countless. For faculty, staff, and for our students, We appreciate you so much. So thank you to Reverend Dale Fisher.
Okay, now we're getting ready to start our business session. You're welcome to stay with us, but now would be an appropriate time if you want to leave and go to dinner or do homework or go for a walk or whatever. But we appreciate you being here with us this evening. Have a good evening. Okay, we'll move along with the agenda. The next item is public comment, and we have 4 that are on the agenda. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Phipps.
And I'm just going to read from our regulation, which is the policy that we follow for policy 2310. The regulation is public participation, public comment at the board meeting. These are the guidelines. Welcome to the Caldwell County Board of Education meeting. We now invite comments during the public comment period on the monthly board meeting. This time is set aside for the board to hear comments on programs, policies, and procedures. The board policy typically will not respond to the concerns expressed, but please be assured that we will take all comments under appropriate advisement. To conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, the following guidelines have been established. Individuals requesting to speak during the public comment period may sign up using the form on the Caldwell County Schools website. The cutoff time to sign up to speak during the public comment period is 9:30 a.m. on the day of the meeting. Groups with a common issue are advised to select one spokesperson. Comments must be issue-oriented. Complaints against any employee will not be heard in public session and should be submitted initially to the superintendent. Public decorum and civility is expected of all speakers. Speakers must refrain from personal attacks, insults, display of temper, or abusive language directed at the board, individual board members, staff, or members of the general public. In such cases, the board chair may terminate the speaker's time. To maximize participation, comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. A timer will appear on the screen and an alarm will indicate that the speaker has used the allotted 3 minutes. The time allotted set aside for public comment is 21 minutes total. Speakers may not yield or give their time to other speakers or trade their time slot with another speaker. In an effort to ensure the board receives time-sensitive feedback from individuals, those who wish to share concerns about topics on the agenda, addressing items on the board's monthly agenda will speak first. The chair or designee will invite to the microphone those who have registered to speak. Please begin by stating your full name. Persons who interrupt, disrupt, or cause a disturbance at the meeting may be directed to leave by the board chair or presiding officer.
Thank you, Dr. Phipps. Our first speaker is Madeline Wright.
Good evening, board members. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Madeline Wright.
I'm Tristan Evans, and we are Brighton High School Hosa Club members. Hosa stands for Health Occupation Students of America for Aspiring Healthcare Professionals.
Brighton Hosa will be hosting a blood drive at Brighton on April 13th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the main gym.
We are collaborating with the American Red Cross to make this drive successful.
The United States is currently facing the worst blood shortage we've experienced in over a decade, predominantly due to the drop in blood drives as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Red Cross provides about 40% of our nation's blood and blood components, all from generous volunteer donors.
But supply can't always meet demand, because only about 3% of age-eligible people donate blood yearly. Each new donor helps meet patient needs. There has been a significant drop in donations during the pandemic, and weather conditions and staffing limitations have caused ongoing cancellation of planned blood drives. There's been a 10% overall blood donation decline since March of 2020, and a 62% drop in college and high school blood drives during the pandemic.
Blood is the most precious gift that anyone can give to another person, the gift of life. The decision to donate your blood can save a life or even several lives if your blood is separated into its components, red cells, platelets, and plasma, which can be used individually for patients with specific conditions.
Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. It is essential for surgeries, cancer treatment, chronic illnesses, and traumatic injuries. Whether a patient receives whole blood, red cells, platelets, or plasma, this life-saving care starts with one person making a generous donation. Eligibility requirements for general donations are you must be in good health and feeling well, you must be at least 16 years old, and if you are 16, you must fill out a parental permission form releasing consent. You must weigh at least 110 pounds, and the donation frequency is every 56 days.
Did you know that you can give one super-powered blood donation that may have the same impact as 2 regular blood donations? At the American Red Cross, this is called a Power Red donation. With a Power Red donation, you can give nearly twice the amount of red cells and help more patients. This type of donation uses an automated process that separates your red blood cells from the other blood components and then safely and comfortably returns your plasma and platelets to you. There are slightly stricter requirements for becoming a Power Red donor. In order to give a Power Red donation, you must be type O or A or B negative blood. You must be in good health. Male donors must be at least 17 years old, 5 feet 1 inches tall, and weigh at least 130 pounds. Female donors must be at least 19 years old and at least 5'5" and weigh at least 150 pounds. And you can donate every 112 days as a Power Red donor. If you're interested in donating to save lives, please consider registering for the Brighton High School American Red Cross Blood Drive on Wednesday, April 13th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the main gym. Registration is open now all the way until the morning of the drive. You're not required to make an appointment beforehand, but it is highly recommended that you do in order to ensure that the drive runs as smoothly as possible. Upon donation, you will receive drinks, snacks, and a complimentary t-shirt and sweatshirt from the Red Cross. And our club sponsor, Mrs. Stevens, will be available after the meeting to register interested donors and answer any questions that you may have.
Please join us as we work to participate in just a small part of ending blood shortages in America. We hope to see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Next speaker is Mr. David Caldwell.
Since I have 3 minutes, I'm going to start with my conclusion, even though I'm an English teacher now. I want to say this about our district. Somehow, some way, we have managed to create a culture where substitute teachers are appreciated, valued, and supported. And I think it stops at the very top of the school board. And obviously, all substitutes must go through HR. So, Dr. Griffin, I'm going to share very briefly what you did for me personally. As I reached out to Mr. Styron about substituting maybe at West Caldwell High School, I had an appointment to come to orientation. And at the last minute, I was informed that a 60-plus-year-old childhood friend of mine was terminally ill with lung cancer, and I wouldn't be able to attend the orientation. I called Bill. Bill said, "Go do what you need to do, and we'll do the orientation in my office." So when I came back, met with Dr. Griffin, we went over everything thoroughly. He took me right next door to Audrey Glenn's office. Audrey spent the next hour and a half helping me with paperwork, electronic forms, since Bill knows how proficient I am with technology. And then I was able to go to West Caldwell High School and meet with Mr. Styron, and I've never felt more supported. I've never felt more appreciated, and I've never sometimes felt more lost. But every single time that I have needed help from somebody in that building, I've gotten it. And I've got to mention a name. Her name is Kristen Bowman. She is an English teacher, and without Ms. Bowman, my freshman class wouldn't even know who Shakespeare was. So I have had a great deal of help, and I've had a great deal of support. And again, I want to say this district somehow, through the last 2 years, has managed to create a culture, not just an atmosphere, but a culture, where substitute teachers in this county are honored, appreciated, and supported. And I want to tell you, the last thing I remembered before I came in here was 40 years ago when I made the decision to go into education. The reason I went into education is the reason I am where I am now, back in the classroom. Thank you, Dr. Griffin, for starting me on the right road. And thank you to the board for coming in and visiting me the first week. What a surprise that was. I also want to thank all of my fellow principals and assistant principals who have covered classes, especially the last 2 years. I want to thank them. And I want to thank them also. When I floated this idea to them, they said, you can do it. And trust me, I have not been in the classroom for 25 years. Without the support of every single person in this county, I would have never survived the first week. So I owe it all to you. Thank you. It is a wonderful experience, and I only have 9 days left. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Next, Mrs. Marcia Henry.
Well, I'm here today to talk about West Lenoir School. My name is Marcia Henry. My husband Bill and I have lived beside West Lenoir School for 24 years. Tonight, I am here along with many residents of the Fairfield community about our concerns of the possibility of West Lenoir School being closed. If the board decides to merge West Lenoir and Balmead School, and West Lenoir were to be closed, you are also making the decision of changing lives of children, faculty, and the Fairfield community. West Lenoir School sits in a single-family historic neighborhood of good families and homes. The concerns of the people in this community are the fear of the unforeseen future of the school, the effect it could have on the value of our homes, and our peaceful historic neighborhood. I've been told the decision is what is best for the children's education, which we all agree. But the children can continue getting that education in this historic school, as my husband, my neighbors, my family, and myself did in the 40s and 50s and beyond. This school has been operating for 87 years, which operated at full capacity for many years without issues. The people of this community want to continue to hear the laughter of the children playing, the faculty teaching those children, the morning Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the birthday announcements, accomplishments of the children, and not to mention the children and the bus drivers waving bye to us at the end of their day. Yet you see, they are a part of our community too. This is not just a building or just a school. It is a home to children and adults that have touched the lives of the people in this community for almost a century. Please let it continue. With all this being said, you are making a decision that will affect not just the children and the faculty, but the hard-working families that live and build their homes in this historic community. I would like each of you to ask yourself, would you want this to happen in your neighborhood? I'm sure your answer would be no. All we ask of you is to treat us like you would want to be treated. So please, do the right thing. Keep West Lenoir School open. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Hendricks. Next is Mrs. Sharon Hendricks.
My name is Sharon Hendricks, and I am also speaking on behalf of West Lenoir School. I have lived there for 36 years, and our neighborhood is a family, including the school. The neighborhood was built around the school. People go up and down the street, talking, walking their dogs, and it's been that way for forever. And it's a safe place to do that. But I know that there are concerns about the school being so old, and it is older than Valmead School. And I'm not here to say close Valmead. I want them both to stay open. But since I live in West Lenoir, I'm going to plug for West Lenoir. Just because it's older does not mean it's not better. According to the tax papers, it's a larger school, has a higher tax value. The tax quality is higher than Valmead, and also the building is above average where the Valmead School is average. These should be things that you look at if you're thinking about closing either school. But like I say, we would like for them all to stay open. The Fairfield neighborhood is one of the oldest in the city with established homes and families, and the only business is, per se, the school. And it would just seem like part of the family would be missing without the children there in the school. And I know that in the paper, one of the selling points for closing the school or for consolidating the schools was that parents with children at both schools would only have one place to go. Well, they only had one place to go up until 2018 when the board voted to put half the school at pre-K through 2 to Valmead and 3 through 5 stay at West Lenoir. Before that, the families were together pre-K through 5. So that's a problem or a situation that was caused by the school board, not the families and not the neighborhoods. So I guess I'm just concerned that we're not really looking after what's best for the children. It's always best to be in your own neighborhood where you know everybody knows you. Kid walks home from school, he gets lost. Somebody in the neighborhood knows who he is and knows where he goes. But my biggest concern was that on Friday, when I printed the agenda, it said Valmead, the subject was Valmead West Lenoir consolidation. Today, when I printed, it says resolution concerning the closure of West Lenoir School. I just wondered what happened between Friday and today. And we knew nothing. Nobody at West Lenoir knew anything about the meeting last week. Now, I don't know who was supposed to do it, but nobody knew anything about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hendricks. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call on Dr. Jeff Church, the Associate Superintendent for Auxiliary Services.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Phipps, I have one item for your approval tonight, and that's the driver's education contract for the 2022-23 school year. And this year's, the contract will go with Metrolina Driving Academy, LLC. I respectfully request approval as presented.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the driver's education contract with Metrolina Driving Academy, LLC? And that would be for 22-23 school year.
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the driver's ed contract as presented.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Any questions?
I have one. I wasn't here last when it was approved. We're not having a price increase or anything, is that correct?
No, it's the same price.
Just a different company?
Different company,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Any others?
And Dr. Church, is it normally a one-year contract? Is that what we've done in the past?
It's a one-year contract, but inside the contract, we can renew for up to 3 years, but we can only offer one initial contract.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Any others? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Church. Next, I'd like to call on Human Resources Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Bill Griffin.
Chairman Pennell, Vice Chair Branch, members of the board, Dr. Phipps. First subject I have, subject A, Human Resources, usual and customary information items. These do not require action at this time. I would like to add, though, that we're down to only about a page and a half of leaves on our absenteeism for that of contagious disease. So that's a wonderful thing so far. Subject B, Human Resources, usual and customary action items. Respectfully request the approval of Human Resources usual and customary action items. These are our contracts as presented this evening.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the Human Resource Services usual and customary action items concerning contracts?
I make a motion we approve the Human Resources usual and customary action items concerning the contracts as been presented.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Great, thank you very much. And finally, subject C, Human Resources usual and customary personnel action items. This is our substitute list. I'm proud to say that we have 15 additional substitutes that we're requesting to the board this evening for employment. I'd also like to say my gratitude to Mr. Caldwell for his kind words that he said earlier, and all of our substitute teachers that have really and truly kept our doors open, kept things percolating within our schools, and the work and quality of work that they do each and every day needs to be commended. But this time, I'd like to respectfully request a motion to approve the action items substitute list as presented this evening.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the Human Resources usual and customary action item as it relates to the substitute list?
I move that we approve the substitute list as presented, and a big old thank you to these 15 individuals.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
I think we can all agree with Mrs. Branch in regards to this.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have we filled all the permanent sub positions?
No, they've not all been filled in all of our schools. They've had opportunity, but not all schools have found a person that works for that particular
It seems to be
position.
working out pretty good for
The
schools.
ones that are there seem to be doing well. Yes, sir.
Thank
Absolutely.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you
Griffin.
very much. Thank you for your.
Next, I'd like to call on the Assistant Superintendent and our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. David Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, board members, Dr. Phipps, I have two amendments tonight. The first one is Budget Amendment number 6 for the State Public School Fund. It's in the amount of $3,561,461.641, excuse me. And Budget Amendment number 7 for the Federal Grants Fund in the amount of $7,866,507. If these two amendments are approved tonight, it'll bring the total budget for Caldwell County Schools to $172,115,768.46. These two amendments are for budget changes to the initial allotments. It's not like it's money that we were expecting, new money that we were expecting. These were adjustments made to the budget after the state budget was approved.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve Budget Amendment 6, State Public School Fund, as well as Budget Amendment 7, which is the Federal Grant Fund?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion we approve both amendments, number 6 and number 7.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I also have, my second item tonight is the individual audit to audit our accounts for the Caldwell County Board of Education. The the contract would be with the same firm that did the audit the past 2 years, Anderson, Smith and White. It does represent a $1,000 increase over the previous years. One of the reasons, I guess the biggest reason for that is that due to the COVID funds, we have 53 additional program report codes that have to be reported separately. Those are viewed as major programs up until their expiration. So they're really doing 53 additional program report codes for us, and that's one of the reasons for the increase in price.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the audit contract with Anderson, Smith and White LLC as presented by Mr. Johnson?
I make a motion we approve the audit contract with Anderson, Smith and White.
Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Dr. Phipps.
Mr. Chairman, item 10A is the resolution concerning the closure of West Lenoir Elementary. This is presented to you in the writing with Mr. Destin Hall that's helped me on the attorney side of putting the document together. I'd just like to know how the board would like to progress moving forward. But this is the resolution, if I may read it, just so the public knows what it says as well. Resolution concerning the closure of West Lenoir Elementary, whereas the Board of Education has caused a thorough study to be made regarding the closure of West Lenoir Elementary School, having in mind primarily the welfare of the students to be affected by proposed closing, and including in said study, among other factors, geographic conditions, anticipated increase or decrease in school enrollment, the inconvenience or hardship that may result to the pupils to be affected by such closing, the cost of providing additional school facilities in the event of such closing, and other factors the board considers germane. And whereas the Board of Education held a public hearing on March the 8th, 2022 concerning the use of the closure of West Lenoir Elementary School, in which the board heard from approximately 45 people, and therefore pursuant to General Statute 115C-72, based on the aforementioned thorough study and use or closure of West Lenoir Elementary, and after considering comments at the March 8th, 2022 public hearing on the matter, the board concludes that closing West Lenoir Elementary is in the best educational interest of the Caldwell County Schools Administrative Unit and its students. The Caldwell County Board of Education would close West Lenoir Elementary School effective June 30th, 2022. So that would be the resolution, and then dependent on action that the board takes.
What's the pleasure of the board? Any comments? Questions? Anyone want to make a motion of any sort?
We have kicked the can down the road for 3 years. And I know it's a hardship to West Lenoir, but we feel like it's the best interest of all the kids that we can solve that to. So I'll make the motion that we proceed with the amendment to a resolution to close West Lenoir, combine it with Calvin.
Is there a second? Anyone?
I second the motion.
Okay, any questions or comments?
I have a comment. I want to thank Dr. Church and Dr. Griffin and the superintendent for all their work they put in. That by doing this, we're not sending kids out to other feeder schools. And we're keeping them in their district, and they'll go right on into the middle school they went to and the high school they went to. And I think that was a big accomplishment. I've been on the fence about this whole thing, and I think for me, the deciding factor was the two principals, who one of them's not going to be at a school next year, and there'll be a place for them. Both said to better serve these kids, they needed to be under one roof. And when that question was pushed further, it was because of the support services that they're having to share. They get a nurse at West Lenoir 1 day a week, where they would have it a lot more at Valmead. They get a counselor 1 day, where they're having to share these resources. Therefore, putting them together, both principals said would be the best for their kids as far as the education. I'm not an educator. I'm here to do policy and make business decisions and hopefully spend the taxpayers' money prudently, so we're not putting a burden on our local tax dollars. That's probably what pushed me over the edge more than anything. And then after doing the support teacher or support person of the year interviews and saw how much speech pathologists and school counselors and school nurses and what they contribute to the overall health of these kids so they can learn, I understand the need to have those services under one roof to better serve those kids. So I just wanted to say that's probably what's pushed me in the direction I'm going to vote on this resolution.
Any other comments? Dr. Phipps, this has been something in the works for several years.
It has.
And it's been carefully considered on multiple occasions and from multiple groups that we have met with.
And I think a big piece of this, and for the residents to know, is what happens to the building if this decision ultimately is made. And I certainly would love to talk with the individuals that have that vested interest and have those conversations about what we do moving forward if that happens.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we have a motion to approve the resolution concerning the closure of West Lenoir Elementary, and we have a second. And with no more questions or comments, those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next item on the agenda is closed session, and we do not expect any action to be taken. Do I hear a motion that the board go into closed session?
Chairman Pennell, I make the motion that we move to closed session to discuss confidential personnel matters pursuant to North Carolina General Statute number 143-318-11A1 and North Carolina General Statute 115C-321 to consult with our board attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor of going into closed session, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We will be in closed session. We'll be back shortly. And like I say, we do not expect any action to be taken. Okay, do I hear a motion we adjourn? Do we need to be on?
I think he's probably already got it going on.
Okay. Do I hear a motion we adjourn our meeting?
I make a motion we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes and we are adjourned. Everybody have a